Games, board games. We might be talking about our preparations for UK Games Expo, but we're not going to. There is a lot of stuff to do, and Jess and I will explain it, some of it to you. I'm not going to say we'll explain it all because there's so much. Explaining it all would take too long. And now I'm going to stop this song so we can now get chatting along. Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you're.
Hello.
For Busy Beats and Board Game Blether, approximately 10 a.m. UK time. And today we're having our regular fortnightly catch-up. We're talking about UK Games Expo planning, rolling colour sheets, which you'll be showing on banners, which I am going to be making. Do you have roller banners? We'll talk about it. I might make stickers. We'll talk about that. Volunteers, a lots of work to do, and we'll just chat about stuff. So, yes, do you have anything to say right now that you have to get off your chest before we say anything more?
Ooh, I don't know. It's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. Things are going relatively well, but oh my goodness. It's only a week until we actually need to get there, and
This time
stressful.
next week, I will hopefully be literally packing stuff into a car.
This time next week, I'll hopefully have things all ready and waiting and things, but yes. Let's see. Fingers crossed everything goes well.
Okay, let's crack on and go through the regular sections and talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. What games have you played? Have you played any games recently, Jess, or have you just been too busy getting ready to go to the convention full of games?
I played Canvas recently, which I
Ooh.
really like. Yeah.
I've been wanting to play this myself. I've not gotten a chance. So this is a beautiful game. And the box, it has this gimmick where you can literally put it on a wall. It's got a wee hole.
It's really nice. The box is actually quite a nice size, because it's smaller than the big boxes, but it's not a tiny box. So it's really nice. It contains a whole load of cards. So far, my husband and I have played it with 2 other sets of people, and both of them have been like, yeah, I really like this, because it's quite gateway-ish in some ways. It's quite simple to understand, it's quite straightforward, but it is also actually really strategic. There's loads of different things you can match, and it just looks gorgeous. It looks beautiful.
Of course, you've got these semi-transparent cards, and then you're building up a lovely painting. And does it feel really satisfying in both senses, both in terms of you've grown this lovely artwork and also when I've managed to solve this lovely puzzle?
So there are 3 paintings that you make over the course of the game. You're collecting cards. You can only have 5 of these cards in your hand at one point. You're collecting cards and you need 3 of them to make a painting. So at any one time, you can only make 1 painting with what you've got in your hand. You can't sort of go, oh, I've got 6 cards, I can make 2 paintings. But over the course of the game, you're making 3 paintings. You all make 3 paintings. So if somebody finishes early, they just finish early. So I would say that the first couple of paintings you make are like, oh, this is lovely, this works really well, etc. And then the last painting, you're like, no, it doesn't work. Let's just shove this bit in. Or at least that's been my experience, that it's always been the last one where I'm like, this is a terrible scoring painting. But different people have different experiences. Actually, one of the people we played with, who's playing this game for the first time, so I've played it 3-4 times now. But my friend Libby, who was playing it for the first time, she was doing really well, and she managed to get so many of the conditions, and I was like, how have you done that? And she's like, I just really like this sort of game. So it worked. Some people just naturally go straight in, but it's really good. It's a really good game. I'd recommend it.
And that is Canvas. I was just trying to find a picture that I'm allowed to show. Yeah, here we go. So that is Canvas, the game, which does indeed just look gorgeous. I've been up to quite a few things. Here is a picture of Canvas. I've been up to quite a few things, including heading off. doing some emails that I had to do, going for a personal appointment. So now I'm feeling a bit, more beautiful and lovely and ready for. Although I'm still going to get my hair done, maybe
Oh.
get it dyed the night before, or maybe 2 nights before. I feel like maybe the night before is pushing it a bit too close. That's going to be like a personal thing, in the bath, just leaving
That
it in
sounds like
for
fun,
a couple
though.
hours.
So, do you dye your hair, or do you use henna or something? Is it?
I've got box dye,
Mhm.
and it's going to obviously be as red as it can be, but it's not going to be super red because my hair is pretty dark. I'm not going to bleach it first. It's just going to take with the bits that are maybe pre-dyed or the few grey bits. So there might be a tint of red in there. Fingers crossed. We'll see how we
Nice.
get on.
Very nice.
I also met up with my old housemate, and ages ago, I'd asked them about being part of the UK Games Expo experience. It would be lovely to have them there. But we hadn't chatted about it since then, since they said, yeah, absolutely. And they've got a lot of, they sometimes struggle to get out, to do things. So I was just assuming, okay, it's not going to happen. But I brought it up just in case. And I said, look, is this actually going to happen? And then they said, oh, I would absolutely love to come. And so I said, okay, well, tell you what, if you are able to come, I will check for if there is a bed, and I'll get another bed, even though it won't be in the main thing, and we'll add the accommodation and have the travel, and you'll be part of it. It'll be lovely to share that with you, and we'll see how we get on. So we played through a game about counting cats, shapes, and colors that keeps getting trickier. We played a game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures. And that one, I think, was Mina's favorite. And then we also played a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after some mixed noises, just to remind her what's going on. And so that I've been doing a lot of chatting with volunteers recently. I guess we'll get more into that, but that was the only other games those were the only games that I've played, except for this one totally brainless online game that I've started. It's one of those where every 5 hours or 10 hours or a day or whatever, you kind of click, and you know that if you leave it 2 days, then you kind of lose potential. But it's just one of those things where, okay, I've been working for so long, I've been sending the emails, maybe I don't want to read Twitter, maybe I want to do something fairly brainless, and that's just a quick 5-minute thing that can fit there as a form of meditation almost.
Sometimes you need those really quick things, those things where you could just be like, I'm going to turn off and just do this thing.
And click a bunch of buttons repeatedly.
Click a bunch of buttons. For me, the turning off is probably reading books. Recently found that there are some more Poirot mysteries, so more whodunits, which are not by Agatha Christie, but they're written in the style of Agatha Christie, and I'm like, oh, that's a whole load more exciting books, because they're quite light and quite easy, and there's a puzzle to work out.
Even that's I think that would engross me too much, and reading an entire book is a very long thing.
That is true. You have to be really disciplined about I'm not going to read the whole book, which sometimes doesn't happen to me, and I read the whole book.
I mean, I do want to give a shout out to myself to self-congratulate, because I said yesterday while I was at an appointment that, hey, I am going to start exercising every day before I look at the internet. So normally I might get up and then I look at WhatsApp, or I look at messages, or I look at Twitter or Facebook or email or whatever. But it's like, yeah, I'm going to take a walk, and I walked quite a bit through the park. I did kind of look at the internet just long enough to get a song playing. So I had an album playing, but I don't count that. So I wasn't really looking at it. So I set up an album. I was listening to Jubilee by Japanese Breakfast, if you want to know, a lovely album. And then I was wandering along, had like almost half an hour walk, went out, and I went into the park and then came back. And all the morning
Hey.
runners, gave them a quick wave, and then one of them actually said hello, gasping for breath. A couple of them were, and then
Like,
one of them that was coming to me, I just kind of nodded at them. They made a wee nod. But people are like just, I guess, when you're in the park and you're there having a good time, you're maybe a bit more receptive to saying good morning to people.
oh, that's really nice. Oh, yes. Running in the morning is something I quite enjoy.
I
So
mean,
I
I
don't do
didn't
very
run,
much
just
of
to
it in
make that
London.
clear. I
You're
was
walking
kind
rather.
of, I was walking speedily. But
Mm.
maybe tomorrow I'll do a running. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I
But
used to run to work. So I used to do exercise when I lived in London and I worked near Euston. Then I would do my exercise by running to work. It was half an hour run. And I was like, this is serious exercise. I wouldn't do it every morning, but I do it a lot of mornings. And since moving away from London and, doing other things, I'm just like, I have very little time for exercise. And occasionally I get in like a 15-minute run or a nice walk, but yeah, it's not the same.
I think no matter what you manage to do, just doing the smallest
Mm,
amount. So even if it's like 12 sit-ups,
mm,
which I can do, like if I push myself more than 100, like in a sitting probably, but like, just 12, or just literally going down the stairs outside on the fire escape and then
mhm,
coming back up, which if I don't feel up to having even a walk around the block, going downstairs
mm,
out down the fire escape, at least I'm in the fresh air already.
mm.
And I am, on the top floor, so it says just going down and coming up gives me a sense of exercise, and maybe I'll walk around the courts but
Mhm.
like I might then go around the block once I get down, who knows? And
Excellent.
so I'm quite, yeah, into this, just doing the minimum possible. But if I feel like doing more, then great. But yeah,
Yay.
um, let's talk about, do you have, Jessica Metheringham, something that you would say is a brilliant thing? Brilliant thing. It's a little thing which is brilliant.
So I was just thinking about this. I have recently been planting things in the garden.
Hmm.
And in fact, there are things left to plant in the garden. So I think that seeds are brilliant, obviously, but also just all
Yeah.
of the other things. We've got some
That
little,
raw potential,
yeah,
the germination, like anything could come from
yeah.
that seed.
There are some little runner bean plants that we've
Mm.
got the other day. In fact, a neighbour brought them over, and so they're these little things. They're sort of, they're about that high at the moment. You can see, because they've got these little see-through pots. You can see the bean in the earth. Where you can see that it's cracked open and the plant is coming up like this, and the roots are going down. And you're like, it's just really, really interesting to see it. So yes, new plants and seeds and beans and that new life. It's all brilliant.
That is indeed a brilliant thing. And bringing us to the main theme of the day, would you say that UK Games Expo is a brilliant thing?
It is a
And
brilliant thing.
if we accept that UK Games Expo is a brilliant thing, why is UK Games Expo specifically a brilliant
Ooh.
thing?
Well, if I can combine the two, it's because it plants seeds in your mind for what you're going to do over the next year. Um,
I love that.
yeah, yay! See, I can mix anything around. Why is it brilliant? So, what am I really looking forward to? So I'm looking forward to just being part of the exhibition. I like the idea that I'm going to be on a booth. I'm going to be there on a stand, and people are going to come around and they're going to see. They're going to see what I've done, and they're going to look at things and go, "Oh yes, I like this, I like that, etc." So there's a bit of a sort of scary challenge there, and we can talk more about that later, about will people like the things that I've made. So there's that interaction with people. There's also the other more networky things that
Mm,
happen.
mm, 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 mm.
So there's the events in the evening. There's something on the Friday night I think I've put my name down for. I don't think I've actually had any confirmation about that, but I'll chase that up. There's then of course the Thursday night, which is sort of a preview thing, as it were, where a lot of the game designers put their wares out on table, and the big publishers and retailers and various other people, the press, I think, come round as well and look at things and just get an idea of what's out there. So I mean that is really useful for just for working out how your games fit into the wider gaming sphere, but seeing what people's reactions are to them, because I can sit here and go, yay, I love this thing. And, you can say, yay, I love this thing. But until, lots of people see it, then there's not really a sense of whether it works for most people.
100%. I have really appreciated the value of bringing out things and seeing how people respond to it. I mean, the original In a Bind, now known as Yogi, just to remember, don't look for In a Bind, look for Yogi, despite the fact that I've got In a Bind Junior cards on the poster behind me. But yes, In a Bind, it had one card in it, right hand right of right elbow, and in hindsight, everything is clear. No other card said to put something to the right or left of any other body part. And right hand to the right of right elbow, well, that means that you've got to keep it out. Well, you can bring it in as long as your elbow's kind of wedged in on your left. But then also left and right, from what perspective? That's kind of not always super clear. Like, is it from your perspective? So does that mean that if you turn your head, now it's kind of different? And it gets quite confusing. And also, the number of words saying right in that sentence, right hand, right of right elbow, that was a super confusing card. And I'm so glad that we took it out for Yogi. So now it's right hand above left hand and clear.
Yeah.
And everything else, it might be this card on right shoulder, this card on left shoulder, right hand above elbow. And you do need to know your rights and left, but you don't say right hand to the right of right elbow. And again, you might say, Bez, you should have known that before you even printed it. And maybe I should have. But and good morning, Alex. And Alex says, you're right. And, but.
Of course.
Yeah, I feel like, the brilliant thing here is me playing it with others, showing it to others. The same way that when I went to Essen with Wibble++, now known as the L deck, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, this needs to be slightly tweaked. When I've gone with my new games, with my Bezzy bargain bags, it allows me to actually see, how does this work? Is this a good thing? Are people enjoying it? And out so far, I want to say that I've made, I'm losing count. Sorry.
Lots.
Noises, vegetables, compliments, pictures. So there's 5 that have been already released, one that I'm going to hopefully get. So there's 5 completely different games. And most of them seem to work fine. Like 4 of them, I can't imagine making any major changes. But like I might tweak some graphics. I might say, you know what, maybe these cats should have been like a darker red and a light yellow, and maybe a game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures. It should have actually been single-sided. That's going to have a major change. Double-sided was maybe not the right move for that. And I learn things by watching people play it, and I improve my pitching. And and Alex says, right hand above right elbow, Roland right. Bez, can I pitch you? Yogi, Roland right. Sure, technically we need to pitch it together to Jigamic, but if you genuinely have an idea, then absolutely I would be interested in working together on it, because making sequels or expansions for popular things is generally a sensible idea in terms of money. But fundamentally, playing things, watching people, you get so much feedback. And 100%, Jess, I agree with the networking, seeing other people, like swapping games that we might get to do, and getting a chance to try it yourself, getting a chance to then share it with other people and be like, oh, that's who you are.
Yeah, just the interaction there, and the the seeing other people, because we talk quite a lot on Twitter or Facebook with various people, and I'm like, oh yes, I know who you are, but do I actually know who you are in real life? So it is just nice to meet other people. I mean, quite often it's more like the other game designers who are doing small games as well. Quite often it's more like a colleague relationship than a competitive relationship.
Mm-mm-mm.
Well, maybe like a semi-competitive. It's like you're all working for the same big company, but you're different departments. And so there's a little bit of competition, but it's actually like, yeah, let's just talk about things.
Really interesting. Like I am a weird person. I could just up the
We
sentence
all
there.
are. We all are.
Who straddles the toy and more hobbyists
Mm,
industries, and sees the power. That is something that there's so much development that's got to go into that. Even after being signed up, there's so many different
mm,
directions that it could take. It's already a good game. Like people already enjoyed it, but it
mm,
still could have a lot of work. And I've got big plans. I hope that ITB joins me in these big plans. Anyway, the point is that you can't just copy the idea. It doesn't
mm,
work. And there's not so much money to be made. Whereas when you talk to a mass market company and they're like, oh, yeah, if you do this, then we're going to try and we'll give you this much money for 2 months of just not letting you show it to anyone else, and you get to keep the money even if they don't want it at the
mm,
end. And then you get this much money if they actually sign
mm,
with you, and that much money is frankly more than I've earned in a single year so far. And that's just before they've even sold anything. That's just because they're so confident
mm,
about the thing. And then I also, would you expect to get back that in the second year from royalties, like to make up the advance? And they said, no, like we'd expect to hopefully get it back within 3 months. Or if it's a slow seller, maybe like 6 months. So basically what we're talking about is that would be like more than like 4 8 times as much as I've earned in a year if something goes to that stage. And
mm,
it is a large amount of money. So it makes sense when you get to that point. You do have people who are worried about corporate spies, and people say,
mm,
yes, you need to be secretive because it might be the next $1 million idea. And they mean literally $1 million idea,
mm,
because how many of us are like, how many hobbyist games have been $1 million idea? There are a few that you
mm,
can name for sure. I mean, Wingspan, it sold 1 million copies. Well done.
mhm,
Like, Ticket to Ride, absolutely. Pandemic, probably. Like there's lots of great games, but like there's so many toys and more
mm.
mass market toys that we don't really imagine that are such bigger earners than the number one game on Board Game Geek.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes the things that actually sell the most are the smaller things that
Mhm.
that fly under the radar of the real hobbyist gamers. Because
Mm.
it's a huge market. It's a bit like a lot of those uh the computer games for phones, and you get the phone
Mm.
games which you get in apps. I think depending what you count a video game as, things like Candy Crush hugely outstrip everything else. And it's
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
yeah.
And
Anyway,
but going back to like the whole, yeah,
the joy of
meeting
UK
other
Games Expo.
people. Alex says that's really what I'm excited about. I might look at some games too, I guess. I mean, I'm
Wow.
honestly not expecting to play anything until Monday. That's the truth. And hello, Dutch Yoda. It is lovely to have you with us. Thank you for joining. We are just talking about why we think UK Games Expo is brilliant. And let's do very quick. So new rules. Jess, you're allowed to ask me questions. I'm allowed to ask you questions. And we'll just go back and forth for about 2 minutes. Question Big Quick Questions is the next section. It's not an interrogation. It's such a question Big Quick Question section. Jess, what's the last thing you ate?
I ate some berries, actually. Some berries. A
Oh,
mixture of raspberries and blueberries, which were which were about to go off because they came from the little £1.50 box.
Good on you for not letting them go off.
Exactly. Plus the little £1.50 boxes, brilliant invention. They are brilliant things, actually.
I have had a fancy egg this morning with also some spinach, also from Lidl, and some rockets. The spinach was probably on its way out, but then I put it in the pan just after the egg. We've got a question from the audience. The best colour that is not red. I will go purple. What about you, Jess?
I think I'm more of a green person. Green is probably my sort of, my natural, thing. Yeah. Okay. I've got a question for you then, Bez.
Okay.
Which is, when you go out walking and you're doing some exercise, what type of shoes do you wear?
I wear trainers and fuzzy socks typically. If I'm feeling very lazy and it's like, oh, I don't even want to go out the house, I'm just going around the block, I might wear some really old shoes that I might have even gotten for free secondhand that I just keep because I'm happy to wear them without socks. So it's kind of like an easy thing to slip into, and then I walk around and I don't have to go through the rigmarole of putting on socks.
Excellent. Yes.
What shoes will you be wearing at UK Games Expo?
Ooh, now that is a good question. I will probably be wearing some little canvasy shoes. I'm not sure whether they're all stars or whether they're just a similar type thing. Because I got them from eBay and I don't know if whether they were real or not. Not that it makes any difference. They work. They fit on my feet. So I think I'll probably be wearing those. Though I see there's a question from Alex about what are your most impractical shoes? Ooh. I have some really, really lovely shoes, which actually were my wedding shoes, which I've still got. And they are, oh goodness, what's the funny brand? Irregular Choice.
Oh,
so they were Irregular Choice shoes, and they are sort of, they're a kind of silky, goldy, beigey ivory mixture of all sorts of things, and they are absolutely ridiculous. And I wore them for that, and I loved them very much. But no, they're not getting worn again. They were also secondhand, I must say. They were secondhand, though. I think they were, sort of worn once secondhand.
I've got some thigh-high sorts of, I think they're probably PVC stiletto boots. And
nice.
Are about yay big on the heel. And so I did once wear them at a convention for a day. I wasn't expecting them to wear them much longer. I did also wear them once for Rocky Horror, a theatrical production.
Excellent.
I'm not sure I've ever worn them for properly out other than those 2 times.
Excellent.
Alex says that is the perfect time for Impractical shoes. I assume you're referring to the Rocky Horror theatrical production rather than the convention.
Yeah, because everybody wants to spend the whole day standing around wearing silly shoes. I mean, actually, Rocky Horror, it depends. I mean, that's assuming that you were either on stage, but if not on stage, you're in the audience sitting down in a chair, because you don't want to wear silly shoes to a gig. I've been to quite a lot of gigs when I was younger, and I had some some silly shoes, some big boots, and it's like, no, you don't wear them to the gig. It's a bad idea.
I'm going to call this the final questionably quick question, which is, will I be missed at UK Games Expo? Asks Dutch Yoda. Yes, absolutely. I mean, look, even the people who are there, it's not like I'll be expecting to spend loads and loads and loads of time with them. But, if you were there, I mean, this time, I think I would have ironically managed to spend more time with you, because I will have a lot more than at TerraCon, because I've got lots of helpers, and then it would have been like, oh, great, you're over here. Let's actually now spend 5 minutes chatting. Or if you're over here for, the 2 p.m. event, and afterwards, we'll have 5-10 minutes to chat. It would have been nice to see you. And we're also having a meetup at 6:30, I want to say. But like, you will be missed, Yoda. Like it, but you are always going to be missed. Lots of love. So let's crack on with the main show. Comments, ask questions, fun, like, follow. We are talking, as I said before, about UK Games Expo. So let's talk about rolling colour sheets.
Yay! Okay, so I have got these through from the printer. They smell all of new print, which is a bit like, etc. But there are 3 different types of pads, and I've got some which I've been filling in earlier. So we have 3 different types of pads, and they're all similar type rules, different scoring there. Here's the easiest one, which is Tulips. So they all have 17 shapes here on these this grid of 9 there. Basically, you roll 4 dice. You choose 1 dice. So yeah, one of the dice becomes the column, 1 becomes the row, and one of them becomes one of the colors. So basically, you've got to say, okay, from my 4 dice, if you got, say, a 3, a 4, and 2 6s, then you'd say, okay, so it's got to be column 3 because that's the only one that matches a column. You can then choose between whether you're doing row 4 or row 6. Then you sort of look down there and you go, what color did I color in? Because you've got to color them in beforehand. You know, what color did I use for 4 and 6? You know, maybe you'll want to do, so maybe you'd want to fill in this one or this one or this one with color 6 because it's in row 4. So basically, you're allocating your dice around there. You then score at the end. Here's one I did earlier. You score at the end, and you score for 2 things on this easy sheet. You score for the number of colours you've used in the middle. So there are 6. I used all of the colours at some time on here. You also score for the number of tulips which are not in the same space as one of the same colour. So basically, you look through and you go, aha, well, in this, you can see these
Only
tulips
the
down.
blue and the green up the top right. So
Yeah.
the blue on the top left and the green on the top right, you've messed up. Everything else scores perfectly.
Absolutely. So basically, I've got 2 pairs there, which are looking there. So instead of 17 shapes, then I score for 13 shapes because those 4 then don't count. So basically, 13 plus 6, 19. So that's out of 23. You know, 23 is the maximum, you know, the perfect top score, you know, but I got 19 out of that. That's, you know, that's pretty good. So anyway, that's the easy one. It's very similar for the next one, which is frogs and lilies, except that you've got 2 different types of shape. So you score for shapes, you know, for things not being in the same, you know, for not being in the same place. And that it doesn't matter whether it's a frog or a lily. I mean, here, for example, yes, we've got, again, I've got 4 that I messed up. 2 lilies here in the same square. And then here we've got a frog and a lily, which are the same color. So even though they're different shapes, it's still, you know, because they're next to each other, you know, I still messed up there.
Can I just say, that gives me an idea. Like, obviously, you don't want to release all your expansions and twists all at once because that's, you know, a bit too early for everyone else. I mean, there's lots of people who haven't even played the basic version yet. But if the frog and the lily were kind of like 2 separate games on the same sheet, like that might be interesting. So like the frog and the lily could be the same color, but the frog couldn't be the same color as a frog on a sheet. So like if you had 2 different types of objects, and that was what was going on.
There's definitely more to be done.
And you could have like maybe only 3 colors to make it so that there's more chance of accidentally matching them. So you color in like 1 and 2 one color, 3 and 4 another color, and 5 and 6 another color. No, it's a really good framework of rules, and I really like what you've been doing with adding these little twists. And you've got the balloons as well.
Yes, I've got balloons as well. Balloons is, so that's a third level. So I think we can probably have loads more in the future. But as you say, I don't want to go too much in. And I was, sort of humming and hawing, do I include balloons? And I was like, actually, I want to include balloons, so I'll do it. But, but balloons, it's so again the same thing. You score again. For those which are the same color, you score for the shaped balloons, which are different colors. And then you've got the added twist here, which makes it that much harder, is that you score 1 extra point for each of the balloons, which is the same color as the star.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That is,
So
I
yeah.
remember that was a really nice little twist.
Yeah, it's just a bit harder. So I think so the top score you can get there is 30, actually. Looking, logically, it would be possible to get 30 points. It's really, really difficult. I mean, I've done 3 of them over the last couple of days. I did 1 yesterday and 2 this morning. And so I'm counting the star as well in order to get the 30. First time I got 24 points, because I only managed to get 5 different colors among the the colored balloons. Then I got 3 different blue ones plus the star, and and I missed out.
The thing to
Yeah,
remember is that you are going to be quite good at your own game.
I'm going to be
I
quite
mean,
good at this. So I think
I think that seeing people play couple on Board Game Arena
Mm,
has made me realize how bad most people are at it.
mm,
And it seems like in the last game that I played with a friend, like they were like, "Oh wow, this is really difficult." I mean, we played in French, so it was a bit more
mm,
challenging for me. Although they are native speakers,
mm.
so it works. But then, even though they are a gamer, they might have actually lost. And like when I look through the scores, like I see so many people who've lost, and I think to myself sometimes, are these people just giving up and not bothering? Are they just playing it for the sake of playing the
Yeah,
game? But no, I think that these people are actually struggling to win the game, which
yeah.
astonished me. I hope that no one listens to this and thinks, "Oh, Bez is being really mean to everyone." But no, it's just I when I devise a game, I understand it a lot more
Mm,
innately than anyone else. So of course I'm going to understand how to avoid having too many cards, how to be balanced, at what points it should happen. And those rules didn't just come in a flash. They came after a lot of careful consideration and evolution. So I had a lot of practice,
yeah.
hundreds of games that I played and hours that I spent. And then for someone who's just seen it for the first time and hasn't seen it, considered it for, hours, then yeah, it makes sense that you might actually lose, which in a way is probably a good thing for a cooperative game.
Yeah, you kind of want to say, well, actually, yeah, you kind of want to say, how many games you need to play in order to really get the hang of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because a game where you sort of lose the first couple of times, but then after that you're like, hang on, I've worked out what the bits are. That's fine, I think. But of
Yeah.
course, you're going to be way more practiced than anyone else. And the same with these. The highest score I've managed to get on the balloons is 27, but I think that I mean, certainly when I did it the first time, I think I got 23 and then 24, then 25, then 27. And that's definitely something where it's like, okay, right, which of these should I prioritize? Now, of course, most people will be playing these competitively. So each player gets their own sheet.
Mm.
So it doesn't really matter whether you get,
Is that really what you
13 or
envisage? Because
27.
I would envisage that a lot of people play them by themselves, especially if it's the sheets, right? And then what I'm also thinking is that in that setting, then we go back to what I did for the solo games for the L deck, where it's okay, this is a bare pass, like a bare success. And then this is good,
Mhm.
great, brilliant, and this is mind-bogglingly amazing.
Yeah. I mean, for
Like,
the instructions, for the roll and color sheets, for the instructions, then it's got, here's, the basic playing, here's what you do if you're playing competitively, you've got multiplayer, you each get your own sheet, etc. But here's what you do if you're playing solo. Now, they started solo because they came from the greetings cards, so that was the idea. But I've kind of been doing, these as roll and color notepads because a few people who had the greetings cards said, actually, we'd like to play this multiplayer. So, so I'm sort of thinking, so I actually don't know how many people are going to play it solo versus multiplayer. That's
it's
going to be
really
really
hard to
interesting.
gather this data.
Yeah.
And
But
I
both
think
sets
that
of
the
rules are there.
a good way to gather this data, I mean, going back to showing off the thing at UK Games Expo or at other conventions, is to just ask when people are buying, like, how are you going to play this?
Yeah.
But before we wrap that up, how many sheets are included? How much will it be? How can people buy this?
So there are 50 sheets in each little pad, which is very nice. And you can buy a pad for £3 and, provide your own stuff along with that, your own dice and crayons. Yeah. Or you can buy all 3 pads plus a little bag with some colours, with some dice for £13. So basically you get the whole sort of, the whole set of everything.
So you get all 3, so that would normally be £9, plus you get one of these colourful fabric bags.
You
You get how many dice?
You get 4 little wooden dice.
Oh, they're wooden as well. Oh, exciting.
They're little wooden dice. They're little wooden dice, and then you get a pack of crayons.
That is amazing.
Pencils. That is a bargain. Yes. So basically,
how many of them do you have? How many of those bags do you have?
So I have 50 of the bags, but I have actually already sold a couple of them. So
if you had any at the end, I would be excited to trade with you, but I think that you're going to sell out.
I'm hoping that I'll sell out the bags. I mean,
I think you will sell out on. Let's take bets now. When do you think Jessica Metheringham will sell out? I'm going to say, oof. So, do you have any pre-order system?
I don't have any pre-order system for this, and
so
I haven't done
already sold too.
So that has been that I have told the people who bought the previous roll and color greetings cards.
Yeah, I was thinking Saturday afternoon as well, but I was trying to. I'm going to go for 2:15. You will sell out during my 2 p.m. event.
2:15. Okay.
Yes. So, Alex, do you think earlier or later, and then we'll decide who was closer, or if anyone else, Yoda or anyone else in the comments.
4:15.
So I've gone 2:15. You've gone for 4:15. So if it's 3:15, then we're joint winners.
Absolutely.
And also, you're a winner because you've sold out.
Exactly. But should I sell out of those, then people just have to come by and play Labyrinth, but they could also come and buy some of the greetings cards. I now have some greetings cards, which are very exciting, so they can come and see those as well.
That is a lovely thing. So we talked about that. We were going to talk about stickers. That's on the banner down there. And Alex is going to go along to the booth at 4 p.m. just to make sure that you sell out. So yes, a while back, we had these potential stickers. So which one do you think would look better? I have found out that if I put in an order for a bunch of stickers today and get them the artwork by 5 p.m., so like we need to make sure that we can do it. I could have a bunch of stickers. Unfortunately, we are a day too late to get it delivered before I go to Birmingham, but I could get it delivered to the hostel.
Excellent. Get it delivered to Birmingham. Yes.
Yes. And so I'm getting it delivered via DPD. I was just on the phone before we chatted, which is part of the reason why I was a bit late setting this up. And so now what we're going to do is I'm thinking about maybe 3,000 of the beetroot to yourself sticker, which will be to celebrate the turnips, radishes, beetroots game. And that will be like the big thing. And then 2,000 that might be split between other designs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3,000 is too many, but I'm thinking like I've got 1,000 of the games, and then I want to give my Kickstarter backers like a bonus sticker, and like I want to have enough so that I can hand some to everyone when they join in the 2 p.m. events, like give them a bundle of stickers. That's quite a fun wee freebie because it's like, hey, I've got 5 different stickers. You can get all 5 stickers. And that feels quite nice, right?
Exactly.
And
they look very nice. I like the way that they look.
So the other ideas were a catalogue, which I had, unfortunately, this is square, but we have to put it in the same rectangular dimensions. But if you say, hey, would you like a catalogue? It's quite a funny thing. That's what I realized at TerraCon. That was my biggest takeaway. That catalogue's just a really nice sticker to give to people at that in a convention. Then one is going to be just you are brilliant. So I've got that card already, but here's a sticker in case people want to put it on somewhere where they will see it often. Then I'm going to have maybe 2 stickers for cute comical creatures. Oh, I like that pun. Well, that's a turn up for the books.
I do like that.
Maybe
See,
I could have the radishy creature. So there's a radishy creature, which is the bookworm, and that could be, well, that's a turnip for the books.
That would be good. See, I do like the beetroot to yourself. Beetroot to you, beetroot to me, and I'll beetroot to you.
Let me actually show you quickly the different options. So this was the horizontal one with 2 lines of beetroots going along. This was the horizontal one, but beetroot to yourself is on top.
Right, rather than in the middle.
This one is beetroot to yourself, kind of. They are scattered around. It's smaller text. You can.
Yeah, I think the text is a bit small there. So
you want it bigger.
I think I would.
Okay, so this again, this is horizontal portrait mode. So remember, this is expanded a lot more, but it would be in the middle, be true to yourself, but it would be basically the same size as the previous one. And then finally, this one where it's kind of a bit more haphazard and written in a different way. So I'd be interested to hear your opinion on which style of writing and which of these ones you think I should go with.
So if it's a sticker, which it is, then I think that the first one is probably the best. You know, I like the simplicity of just having lots of beetroots and having the beetroot to yourself right in the middle. I think that if you were going to put it on something like, you know, say it was the front of a notepad, or it was a banner or some other slightly bigger non-stickery things, then I think the one where the beetroots go off the edge would be nice. You know, I do like things which are cut off in that way. So if you were putting them on banners, I think that, you know, having them cut off is great. But for a sticker, I think beetroot to yourself, the first one, is probably best.
No, I really appreciate that. Alex asks, could it wrap all the way around the text? I'm not sure what you mean.
Do you mean number 3, but where it's got beetroot to yourself at the top and bottom as well?
Oh, so like be true to yourself. Is that what you're suggesting? Like be on one side and then true on one side and then 2 on one side and yourself on the third side?
This might not... Oh, a circle of beetroots around the text is what he means. Oh,
so like it's like just adding another beetroot on the left and the right of version number 1.
What if you had... Yes, that's true. It would be not a circle, but an oval.
Yeah, that's already all 16 beetroot pictures that I've got there. It would mean reducing the size of them, but I could see that.
What if you take that first one? What if you shrunk the text a little bit and then you and then you flipped the second half of the beetroots so that all the leaves were on the outside and all the beetroots were in the middle? And then you kind of reordered them a bit, perhaps expanding the pictures a bit so that it was, so that you could sort of squish them round the edges, and you'd sort of, rather than having them dub dub dub, it would be dub dub dub. Yeah, more ovalish.
Yeah. I mean, I
No idea
wouldn't
if that would
want
work.
to duplicate them because I quite like the fact that all of the beetroots that you see there are totally unique. I mean, they're not totally different. Like, obviously, in the game, if you pick them up, then a beetroot is a beetroot. But when you are seeing them, and I didn't need to do this for the game, but each piece of art is separately drawn. And I think I'm proud of that. And having exactly the same thing again, it just feels, unless that's a deliberate design choice, it feels slightly cheap to me. And I say it feels cheap, but we have done that with like some of the backgrounds of a game about drawing creatures, complementing the drawings and complementing the complements. So in version 2, they are, I want to say, 52 unique card fronts. So like, not only is the text unique, but also the background, which is completely irrelevant, is also unique colors. But we do have flipping and mirroring to make it a wee bit faster. I do really like the idea. Honestly, it's going to have to be Chris who does it. So I will check in with them how they're doing with all this stuff, and it's going to basically depend on time. If this is the sticker, it sounds like this, as it says, would be a fine sticker that people would hopefully be happy to get.
Yeah. No, I really like the idea. I really like the stickers. This as it is a great sticker. There are probably a whole load of other ones that you could come up with. But I love it as it is.
I do really like the idea of, I wish I had the art, or the boxes, but I don't have the boxes yet of a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your radishes with the bookworm in it, which I'm excited to show. But yes, that is stickers. So that's like I am doing so much last minute stuff. And banners, doing so much last minute stuff. Basically asking Chris to do so much last minute stuff, I should say. And Chris is doing 3 new banners, I've decided, because sadly Kitty Cataclysm is sold out, and the L deck is basically sold out. So I'm going to definitely get it back in print at some point this year. And I'm sorry, Alex, I don't know if I will have many copies like that people can buy after they've played Biddable, but they can always get. I have to prioritize anyone who backed Categorical and wants one of the original L decks. Make sure that there's enough for those people. Because at this point I've said it's either going to be worse quality cards, but you get the Categorical art, or it's going to be the first edition quality and you get the original artwork. Let me know what you'd like, and people are free to choose. It's the best option that I could do given the circumstances. I just couldn't deliver the product that I thought I would be able to, after pandemic and everything. But people have been understanding. Anyway, so I'm asking Chris to make, because I got 3 preview tables, which I'm super excited about. Hello, Matt. It is lovely to see you. So I have 3 press preview tables.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm super excited. I have like so many games. I've got literally more games listed than any other company, and I include Coil Spring and Asmodee. Like I've got more games. I had more games when I checked than them. And I know that my games might be like small cards games, but like still, that's a massive achievement, I think.
There's a real market for small card games. For bigger games, you need fewer people to buy them. But they're huge games and people need to spend a fair amount of money on it. But for small card games, you've just got your audience, your potential market is so wide there.
And I'm going to make sure to show off everything that I've made in the past year really nicely. And so I'm having like 3 of my helpers join me, like my number 1 helper, Josie, and Johan and Chris, who like helped me before, and they know all my stuff. And so I thought, I want to have like 3 new banners. And like, even though this says stuff by Bez, which is quite nice, it's got like these in a bind junior pictures, which they're all right. Like, they're a bit outdated. You can't buy
Mm.
these cards. I mean, if you really wanted to, like, if you give me enough money, I'll sell you anything in the sense. But you know
But
what I
there is an
mean.
element of saying, hang on, do your banners reflect what you've actually got for sale? We've had
Yeah.
two new ones made, one of which is a library labyrinth one and one of which is a roll and color banner, and hopefully they're getting delivered tomorrow or possibly Friday. But yeah, it's the sort of thing where now is probably the last time, the last couple of days when you can actually get banners made, because most companies, they'll be struggling to deliver them otherwise.
Um, yeah, I think that everything has a price. I do think that if you've got enough money, everything's got a price. I think
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's something I wouldn't do for like a huge amount of money. I mean, yeah, I've
like,
got things in my
if
house.
it's
That's fine.
tasks and future obligations, then that's a separate matter.
Yeah.
But I think there's no object that has so much sentimental value that I wouldn't get rid of it for £1 billion. I mean, frankly, if you gave me £1 billion, I would probably, like, I was about to ask, would I sell you all the data off my laptop? I'd probably stop there and maybe not sell you all the data off my laptop, because then we could get into really dangerous territory.
Yeah, if
But
it's legal to sell it as well.
I would, excluding my laptop and my phone with all the information, I think I would sell. Yeah, if you give me £1 million, I mean, we don't even have to go to a billion. I would sell you everything that I own, I think.
Mm.
Yeah. Alex would throw in the laptop, but again, you could be imprisoned. Like, I've got other people's confidential data. And also, if they've got my credit card information via the laptop and the phone, then they could take that money back. That's also what I'm thinking. Do you know what I mean?
If it's I'm just trying to think about, what sort of prison term for what sort of money. Let's imagine that it is let's imagine for a moment that it's a crime which doesn't have a victim, and I'm not entirely certain, whether there are such things. But let's, hypothetically imagine, that there's no victim, with you, selling, various data things, but it's still technically a crime. I'm like,
Mm-mm.
if somebody gave me £1 billion, I'd happily go to prison for a year or something. If there was £1 billion waiting for me when I got out, probably.
I mean, if I was actually going to get that much money, yeah, sure, I would. I would. Like, I mean, I'm just wondering, like, how much risk there is of death
Mm,
and permanent, damage. But
mm,
yeah, like, I know this might sound glib, but frankly, having been through the pandemic and having been through lockdown, and I do think that took a big
mm.
mental toll on all of us, it certainly did on me. I think I would go to prison for definitely, definitely a year at least
Yeah.
for £1 billion.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. I mean, once you get above that, it's like, oh, I'm not so. I don't know. The thing is that I don't actually know
Mm.
what prison is like. I have no real clue what
I mean,
it's
I
like.
know that you can still send letters to people, so
Hmm.
you don't go mad, and you do have access to, like, pens and stuff to write with. Maybe not pens, but they can give you crayons or pencils and paper. So, and
Yeah,
then you can do exercise. Like, I might come out of it being really buff.
yeah. I mean, this is the thing. There are times when I'm like, actually, I've got so much on. Maybe I'd like to go somewhere else. I'm just looking at the comments. Let's
Alex
not
says,
get
I would
into.
rather go to prison for one day for 2.7 million, not £2.70. So that's the consensus. But then you have to do the whole thing,
Mm,
because that's like saying, yeah, I would rather go to prison for absolutely, like, half an hour for however
yeah.
much, like, that turns into. And that would be a great turner, but that's not the choice. The choice is all or nothing.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's offering this. We've concocted this entire hypothetical scenario out of nothing. Let's not then
Anyway,
cut it into bits.
what did we
Anyway,
get here? Roller banners. I am getting free
roller
roller
banners.
banners, and yep, doing that because I want to advertise things that you can actually buy,
Yeah,
and I am actually selling to people at a reasonable price. And
yeah.
honestly, if you want to buy in a Bind Junior, get in touch. It will be a lot more reasonable than £1 billion.
Absolutely. Or even 57k for half an hour, as Alex is suggesting. I mean, if somebody was offering, yes. Anyway.
Bargain, less than £1 billion. Anyway, so let's get back on track if we can. I really wanted to talk about volunteers. I know we have to wrap up at this moment. I just wanted
Let's
to
talk
chat
about
with people who've already worked with me, it's nice because I know how they're doing and I know the way they work. And it's when people communicate with me and when I've chatted to them on video, it's like, okay, I get to know them. Okay, I know that this person is a bit awkward and wants to be at the stand all the time. And hey, this person's good at balloons. They can be the balloon boss. And you get to know people. And then there's one person that there's multiple people that I've not had any meetings with. Frankly, one of them at this point, I am getting a wee bit concerned because I've not heard back from them since I sent them my preview pack, which is a whole bunch of games that I expect them to learn. So I never got confirmation. So I did say, hey, let me know when you can speak, and hey, let me know. And I sent them another message to say, hey, I'm getting a bit concerned. I've not heard from you for a few weeks. And are you actually okay? Are you actually going to be coming? Because if they have to pull out, I understand. Life happens. Stuff happens.
But you just need to know, don't you?
Absolutely, 100%. Whereas Johan, I've barely spoken to them since for a good few weeks. Let's say 3 weeks I've not spoken to them. But that's fine. I actually did send a message not a few days ago, and then they sent one back saying, yeah, there's no reason to chat.
Saying, I said, I'm good, etc. Yeah.
That's great. I know where we are. And but with people that I don't know how they are going to demo stuff, it's super important to meet up beforehand. And Wednesday and Thursday for me, especially Thursday, yes, we're going to set up the stand, but it's going to be primarily about making sure everyone's on top of everything. Have you actually worked out how to play all these new games? Have you learned not just the rules, but how to demo them? Do you know the names of the games? Which, in my case, is actually a bit more challenging than most.
Well, you've not only got a huge catalogue of games, as you were saying, more than anybody else. You've also got names which are about 5 times as long as any other name there. So because I'm pretty certain that I would fall over with some of those names. I'm like, I'd just get my tongue in a complete muddle.
I mean, Rory at Dragon Meets was picking up the card to say, oh, would you like to play a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after sonic noises? And I said, yes, absolutely, please do that. I would far rather you pick up a card and read it off a card and use that as a prompt rather than get the name wrong. And then after a couple of hours, then you do remember the name of the game.
Yes, yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's honestly the least important bit. The most important bit.
That becomes part of the joke as well. It becomes a really funny thing about, hey, can I do this? And in fact, I'm not the only one who's had that thought.
A game about learning all of Bez's games and their full names without making mistakes. Oh, that's another strong contender for my 100th Board Game Geek entry. Because we had another. Oh, maybe that should be my. Oh, because the other week we were saying that my 100th game should be a game about making games. But yes, helpers are brilliant and lovely people. Yes, I am actually inspired now to make my 100th game a totally self-referential thing. That's a quiz game just about the names of previous games.
Brilliant.
Yes, Jess, do you have anything more to say about helpers? Anything more to say about UK Games Expo planning? What do you have to do?
I am feeling a little bit nervous about basically putting all the stuff together, because Mill has got a lot of stuff in her house. So basically there's two of us, who are the main people. There's me and there's Mill, and Mill is coming up from Worthing, with the car, and so she'll be here with all the boxes of stuff, and I'm like, have we completely measured which things are going where? And so, there's an element of me sort of thinking, right, we need to be really organized because it's coming from two different places. We don't want to have the situation where, where they get here and I'm like, I've got too many boxes to fit in the car. But, which I think would probably be fine. I'd just have to, go along with with sort of a box under my feet in the footwell and, one on my lap or whatever. But it's still,
And
I'd
when
rather...
Mill gets over, worst case scenario, you can rearrange things.
Exactly. But it's
It'll be
still,
fine.
it'll be
I
fine.
understand the tension.
It is. It's a bit like, how much we're bringing, because of course, we kind of say, oh yes, we're bringing this and we're bringing that, but when you put it all together, it's still quite a lot of stuff. But also trying to work, just trying to think about how many greetings cards you will sell, because luckily greetings cards are quite small.
Take as many as you can fit.
Take as many as we can fit, because what's worst case scenario, we'll have to bring them back. Although luckily my my partner's coming up to help on the Saturday, but he's not going to be there on the Friday. So he's coming up on the train. So should we need just a few more things, he can always take a couple of huge bags of things.
Amazing.
Hopefully we won't. Hopefully we won't need stuff.
So at this point, we'll have a very quick question of the day. Here's a little question before we go on our way. So my question to you is, when was the last UK Games Expo? I mean, when was the first UK Games Expo you went to? And did you enjoy it? And yeah, that's the question. So for everyone, when was the last UK Games Expo you went to? Or will this be the first? Or have you never been? If you've never been, that's also a legitimate answer. My first was 2011. What about you, Jess?
I went sometime in, oh my goodness, I can't remember. It was sometime in sort of like 15? Was it 2015 or was it 2014? I can't quite remember. But I definitely went in 17 because we just went for the day again. So I'd never actually been. In fact, do you know what? I have never been to more than one day of Games Expo.
Wow.
All of the times I've been 3 times. Once in, let's call it 14. I think it was 14. Once in 14, once in 17, and then last year. And all of those, I was there for just a single day.
Last year, were you not there as an exhibitor?
Yes, but Mill was the one who was doing, the main, so basically
so you were just there for one single day last year?
Yeah, so last year I was there for the Saturday. Mill and David have had the stand.
So this is your first time, and I feel like I've helped bring this about.
This is my first time staying overnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's lovely. Matt, Alex, everyone else, when was your first time? And at this point, I also ask over to you, what are you up to? You can share, but only if you want to. So I am personally going to be looking through the reviewer stuff and the shop stuff. I'm going to start off with the shoppy stuff, and I'm halfway through writing a rhyme to explain all the games, and hopefully people get a kick out of it, although I feel like I should actually put normal text in there as well. But I'll be saying, hey, I see you are not really selling my kinds of games, but if you want to come over and check out if some stuff is suitable, come over anyway. Because, and I won't add this last part, but because you're a shop and you might buy stuff from me and I like getting money.
Yay,
but
yay.
That's kind of what it comes down to. And I'll only sell shop stuff on the Sunday because we want to wait and see if we sell out to customers at full price before I start selling it at a cheaper price to shops. I'm also going to be overseeing stuff with Chris, making sure Chris is okay, supporting them, and putting in the order for the banners and the or sharing the banners, putting bits together and putting in the order for the stickers. So if there's anything that you are looking forward to, anything that you want to share, I promise that I care. And in the comments, Matt's first UK Games Expo was 2015, the last one in the Hilton. Matt met Andy Looney, which was amazing, given that it was Flux that got Matt into the hobby. Alex did a single day in 2015, tried to drive up and down from the south coast, but failed and had to nap in a service station. Yeah,
That is the benefit of going on the train, so because I live in Reading and it's in Birmingham, then, yes, it's not a short train journey, but it means it's a direct train journey, and it's something like an hour and a half. And it's like, actually, that's perfectly doable, especially because I only live about 15 minutes walk from the train station here in Reading. So it's like, actually, it's perfectly doable.
Matt says, I've sent all my stuff off to the printer, so these are the maps with annotations that you can check out on the website, and I always worry I've made a mistake and misspelled something or accidentally deleted someone, which I did last year. So apparently last year, Matt deleted Board Game Hub off the map, had to put transparent stickers to fix it, and Alex says, oh no, I hope they were tranquil about it.
Which is a good one.
For those who don't know, Tranquility, the game.
Yeah. So that's a game where you've got loads of different cards, which are a bit like coasters almost, and you're putting them in order, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Alex says, good train lines in Reading, busiest in the UK. And
I think possibly.
I think, to recap and wrap up before we finish up, we've chatted about so much stuff. We've had a lovely chat about Canvas and me playing games with Mina, and Mina possibly coming over, which would be lovely to see, about preparations, about having a bunch of questionably quick questions, which was fun to do in the middle. And then we talked about your roll and color sheets and all that's coming out. We talked about my endeavor to have stickers and roller banners and volunteers. And is there anything else that you would like to chat about? We've also chatted about why seeds are brilliant, and UK Games Expo is brilliant, just like a seed.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. It's all fun. No, I don't think there's anything I particularly want to, I think you've got it, Bez. You've encapsulated what we've talked about.
Brilliant. Well, if you do want to check me out, then obviously I am Stuff by Bez, stuffbybez.bickers.com, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. I stream every day at 10 a.m. UK time. I mean, if you don't know that by now, you will never, ever know. But in all seriousness, I might actually have one or two early streams when I'm at UK Games Expo.
Oh, yes. And do some early streams. That'd be cool.
Just something where I'm able to actually walk around a wee bit. But I put a poll on Twitter to ask people what they think. Stuffbybez.com/streams. I will, if I get my games, I will be showing them off tomorrow. Or maybe I'll show them off on Saturday or Sunday. Hopefully I will have gotten them. Fingers crossed. I'll be a bit anxious if I haven't gotten them today or tomorrow. Like, if it's tomorrow, that's okay. That's kind of okay. But there's a lot on its way to me, and hopefully I will get it, and then we can also post it out first class to some volunteers who might want to see the new stuff before the actual show.
Yeah.
Jess, where do you like to be found?
I am usually found on Twitter. Twitter is a good place to find me, so go and find me at Descent Games. You can also go to the website, which is descentgames.com. You can probably find me on Facebook in sort of, just generally around, but Twitter is best. And Library Labyrinth, which we haven't spoken about, is the main game, which is funded on Kickstarter. And Roll and Colour is mainly on descentgames.com. So yeah, come and find me, come and say hello. When I'm at Games Expo, which hopefully many of you will be, then I am on stand 2482. So come find me there and you can physically see me. I'm a real person.
Nice. And please spread the word. I want to say hello to Xate. It is lovely to see you, who says, I keep coming in at the German start time, but I'm right now in the UK, which I understand the mistake. And shout out and lots of love to Xate. And I'm excited to actually get to, we have met in person, but Yeah, I was going to say not for very long, but like we've played Euphoria and we've played. I'm trying to remember what else we played other than Euphoria, but yeah, like so it's nothing special. I mean, but like it's just been a long time. It's been like many years, so like it's been like many years, and it will be lovely to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Um, hype, hype. One day till I hang out with the infamous Bez. I wasn't sure if you were wanting to make that public knowledge, but tomorrow I get to work with Chris and then Sates and I and Chris maybe play games. Yes, it has been ages, but we did quite a lot pre-COVID. Oh yes, Sky Gardens. That was so much fun. Yeah, that was lovely. Oh my gosh, such a long time. I want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for chatting. Thank you, everyone, for questions. Thank you for commenting along. There's only one thing left to say, which is, of course, bye, 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 bye. This is goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye, Xates. Looking forward to meeting you. And bye bye, Alex. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.